B-boy. From the old to the new, still a B-boy. Too bold for the school, still a B-boy. East Coast to the West, B-boys worldwide. We supposed to be blessed, still a B-boy.
This week, we're heading to New York to talk about a true hip hop pioneer who was way ahead of his time as an MC. From being a part of the Treacherous Three to an amazing solo run from the mid 80s to mid 90s, Kool Moe Dee is a first ballot hip hop Hall of Famer. Tonight, top 10 Kool Moe Dee songs. Joining me, of course, Ravens to my right, and we got the LEJ in the house again. And the three of us are going to hold it down, talk about some Moe Dee. And as always, I'll start it. And I'm going to the year 1989. The album is Knowledge is King. And I understand if people judge me for this pick. I'm going with the big single, They Want Money. Yes, it was a crossover single that kind of had a New Jack swing type vibe to it, but I always found it catchy from the day the album came out till now. I still sing along with it. It's kind of a guilty pleasure. And I remember the video, all these girls are chasing him and he's like hiding in a phone booth. The video makes me smile, and it's just one of those guilty pleasure type songs for me. So he got me with it, even though it sounds very 1990 New Jack Swing. It's like I'm waiting for Rex and Effect to jump in on the next verse, but I don't care. They want money. I like it. That was my number 10. What is yours, Raven?
Number 10 was kind of a guilty pleasure for me. It's kind of almost a song, but it's Surviving Christmas. It was his little cover of a Christmas song. It's very emo. It's weirdly atmospheric and just moody. As I was going through him on YouTube Music, I kept coming across that, and it just kept on hitting me. And I was like, all right,
I,
Surviving Christmas.
I don't think I heard that. Does it say what was it just like a single? Is it a newer? Or
No,
you
it
remember?
was older. Yeah,
What the
it just
hell?
kind of showed up. I'm not sure if it was on an
Huh.
album or just a
Or
single.
compilate. Yeah, that doesn't ring well. Interesting. I'm gonna have to do some homework. What was it called?
Surviving Christmas.
I like obscure stuff I don't know. All right, Ellie J, what's your number 10?
Well, before I say my number 10, I have to give an honorable mention to Heart Feel the Heartbeat by the Treacherous Three, even though that wasn't a solo
Hmm.
song. That was I saw him do that live when I was like really young. So I used to follow Kool Moe Dee around when I was young and like sneaking at parties and shows where he was at. So I remember that.
You were a Moe Dee stalker.
Yes, I really was. Number 10 for me would be God Made Me Funky. I like the track, and I just the title in and of itself I thought was very different. A lot of the titles back in the days where they were very simplistic. I just like the aspect of how he had that title and how he built upon it in terms of the lyrics and the context of the song.
And it's a great example of MCing and how far ahead of the curve he was. That's a
Definitely.
great song that shows that. All right, number 9, and I'm going to the 1986 self-titled Broke Out My Old Tape, and I'm going with I'm Kool Moe Dee. And man, this sounds like 1986, but in all the best ways. It's just some MC shit. He brings it with the lyrics. I always sing along with the hook because I'm the greatest, but not Ali. I'm Kool Moe Dee. I used to say that all the time as a kid. And hip hop was so new and developing here in '86, and Moe Dee was so on the forefront what it meant to be an MC, and he had been doing it for years already. But when you listen to his lyrics from '86 and think about what the other music was, he really was a step ahead of most of the competition. So I love that first self-titled album. It's dope as hell. So I'm Kool Moe Dee was number 9 for me. Raven, you're up.
So I did not think to mark down what album went where on what song. So normally I'm a little more prepared, but I went with the track No Respect. Love that song. It's got this weird ass home improvement vibe in the beat. I don't know. I always thought that beat was just really different and catchy as hell.
All right, Justice, number 9.
Number 9 for me would be They Want Money.
Oh, see, I'm not the only one.
And I think that was one of the first like rap songs, hip hop songs I heard. Because it was in that time frame there were a lot of songs coming out about women talking about what can you do for me, or pay my bills and all this stuff. And that was one of the first songs that was done from a male perspective, like of a male celebrity, and like, talking about gold diggers. So
Mhm.
I thought that song was really ahead of its time.
Yeah, and Moe Dee was right. All they want your money. All they want is your money. All right, we'll slide in at number 8, and I'm going to 1991's Funky Funky Wisdom, which I think objectively, not sentimentally, but objectively is his best album, at least MC wise. And I'm going with the song Rise and Shine because what? Kool Moe Dee, Chuck D, KRS-One, all on one track in their prime. It doesn't get much better than that. And this is another video I really remember. It was on I talk about them all the time, my VHS tapes that I would tape Yo MTV Raps on. I know this was on there. They're behind a table, like a press conference, and Dougie Fresh is just chilling with them. He doesn't really do anything. Must have just been in the area. And features were still so rare in this era. It's not like now where everyone features 10 rappers on every album. When
Yeah.
you saw a feature, it was very rare in this era. So it was cool to see KRS and Chuck D. Rise and Shine had made it just for that alone. So I put it at number 8. What did you put at 8, Raven?
I went with Death Blow. I just really like the beat. Some really dope scratching, just MC shit. It's such a just MC song. I love that shit. The scratching sets that whole song.
And you're an LL Cool J fan, and you're
I know
still. That shows how good
unfortunately
it is.
there's at least two on here that I'm
Yeah.
just like I shouldn't. I'm gonna.
There's no denying Deathblow. He just destroys LL. Destroys LL. That will be brought up again. I can guarantee you that. Justice number 8.
My number 8 is Death Blow.
Mm.
And I just love the song. I think it was just a shame to me because it just marketing wise, I mean, I think, he really did have answers for LL. Like I was a LL fan too, but I was more of a Kool Moe Dee fan. And I just think if he had better marketing, I think people would have heard how much more dominant he was as an MC.
It wasn't even close, in my opinion, if you're comparing their diss tracks. I mean, he just
Not at
destroys
all.
it.
Man, I refused to listen to this shit for a long time during the time period they came out because LL is one of the goats.
Well, yeah, I mean, and when LL dissed
No,
Ice-T too, so
I was so on LL's like dick for the whole part of his
yeah,
early career
yeah.
though.
I know you're a dick rider of
Yeah,
LL. That's cool.
it works if it works, you know.
No, it's proof how great that diss track is.
Facts.
But I think we are at number 7, and I'm gonna go back to 1989's "Let's Go." I mean, Knowledge is King with the song "Let's Go," which is also an LL Cool J diss track.
Mm.
Just what a battle! And like you said, Justice, if more people would have known, or you're right, he should have been promoted better, because so many more people heard like Break of Dawn and LL's disses and Arid Moe Dee's, and even Let's Go to me is better than anything LL did towards
Yeah.
Moe Dee, and he just brings it straight MC shit, but they kind of
Yeah,
brought
LL
the
just
best out of each
he
other.
got lucky because he had that remix for Jingling Baby with Marley Marl.
Marley, yeah.
That's what kind of hyped that up, that this part of his battle part.
Moe Dee just killed him at every stage, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So Let's Go was my number 7. What was yours, Raven?
Mm. Yeah, looking at it objectively as an adult, LL didn't even touch him. You know what I
Mm,
mean? But
no.
I went with Go See the Doctor. I love that beat and flow. It sounds like it's recorded in House of the Grouch's trash can. So my fiance calls it Sesame Street core. But I love that beat and flow. I just thought it was a dope song.
Man, to this day, and like maybe 1 out of 3 times when I'm going to a doctor's appointment, I think, go see the doctor. Although I'm not going for the reason he was going. Just want to put that
Right.
out there. Put that out there. What's number 7 for you, Justice?
Funky Wisdom. One thing that I've always, admired about Moe Dee, which is something I've tried to do myself, over my time in terms of making music. I like the fact that he tried to have different subject matter. I like the fact that he tried to explore new aspects in terms of what he rapped about. And that, it seemed like even if it was he did research to me like on what the title meant. Like there was significance in the title and what he was saying, unlike a lot of people who just have titles of songs that mean nothing about what the song is about. So I just appreciated the intellectual aspect from how he approached his music.
And he was one of the first MCs where I remember catching things multiple times after listening to it. And yeah, that's the first one of the first I can remember. Then Rakim and Kane came, but man, I said it 100 times already, so ahead of his time. So we're
Yep.
at six already, and for the first time, I'm going to 1987's "How You Like Me Now." Hey, we gotta talk about the cover where his Jeep's rolling over the Kangol hat of LL Cool J. Such a great
Mhm.
idea. I'd love to know the story who came up with that. But since we're talking about LL diss tracks, "How You Like Me Now" is my number six, and it's a great way to start off this second album. Just the perfect choice for songs. And you got Teddy Riley on the beat, but it still works. But a video, I'm gonna talk about videos a lot. For some reason, I must have had a lot of Kool Moe Dee videos on my tapes. But this one is funny to me because they have someone dressed as LL Cool J and he's tied up in a chair like they're gonna do a mob hit or torture him or something. It's just funny that was the concept. Like he's all tied up and you're expecting him to start sticking screwdrivers in his knee or something. But How You Like Me Now, just a great diss track. I guess three of my picks are all diss tracks, but it really brought the best out of them, and I love battle records. So How You Like Me Now is my number six. You are up, Raven.
I went with Gangsta Boogie. Just classic sample, Ghetto Boys, ICP. So many people have used that. It's such a dope beat. The rhyme scheme, the rhyme pattern, wordplays. It's a great fucking song.
Very iconic sample, and that was an honorable mention. That was probably around 12 or 13 if I'm picking numbers. All right, Justice, what was your number six?
My number six was Go See the Doctor.
Mm.
Ah,
And
Doctor.
I think, I'm very analytical when it comes to like hip hop. I guess because I've been around it and been involved in it for so long. But one thing that I remember, there were very few songs that someone could tell a story. That was one of the things I was kind of known for back in the days, being able to tell, like, to do a rhyme, but also being able to tell a story. And Go See the Doctor not only told a story, but it added humor to it. And I think there's so few tracks you can actually think of that would be on the level of Go See the Doctor in terms of the style, the finesse, the storytelling, and the added humor. It's kind of like it's iconic to me, kind of like Slick Rick's song.
Mhm.
In terms of the aspect of the story and the humor added to it. Not many MCs could do that.
Even less can do it now. Well, we're all on the same wavelength, so I'll just slide into my number five, which is Go See the Doctor off that
Oh
self-titled
yeah.
one. I still laugh to this day every time that I hear her ex-boyfriend Dave calls her Mrs. Microwave. But I was thinking about the first time I heard this, and in 1986, I wasn't getting what he was really going to the doctor for. Like, I wasn't up on my STDs in 86. But as I got older, it's like, oh, and then it really got funny to me. And I had this vinyl, I couldn't find it, but I remember it had a hype sticker that said uncensored version, real big. And it's a great lesson from Kool Moe Dee. He's schooling you. You gotta watch out, gotta protect Jimmy. Other rappers would tell you that later on. But Moe Dee was
Mm.
one of the first to tell you about Mrs. Microwave, too. She always burns you. It's still funny, 40 years later. But Go See the Doctor. So iconic. So what's your number five, Raven?
I go to work.
Such a
It's
good one.
such an iconic beat. The bars are dope as shit. But man, we love a horn ensemble. That beat is so good. It's almost cinematic.
And another example of MC shit. All right, we'll go to you again, LEJ, number five.
It's funny because my number five was almost I Go to Work, but my number five is Wild Wild West. I just love that song, and I'm originally from Harlem, so it was like a Harlem anthem. I really related to that song, and I like the way the video was filmed, like with the cowboy hats in the snow. It
Yeah.
was great imagery for that song.
The video always kind of made me laugh because they're in like cowboy outfits, like you said, in the snow, like a Western theme. But the backup dancers are doing very, 80s type dances,
I know.
which is a funny mix from are they in the Wild West? But again, we're on the same wavelength. I'll just slide right into it. My number four was Wild Wild West. And if you say Kool Moe Dee is the first song that plays in my head most of the time, and it's another Teddy Riley joint. But it's also a great example of Modi's booming voice. I mean, such a unique, deep voice he had that just echoed out to you. We talked about the video and we talked about the album cover. Otherwise, you said everything else. But yeah, Wild Wild West is classic. Will Smith sampled it. I don't hate it too much because he brought Mo D in and gave him love. I think he was even in the video for the Will Smith version. Just a classic Mo D and hip hop song. So yeah, that was my number four. Raven was your number four, Wild Wild West.
I'm gonna have to sweep it because it's the Wild Wild West. Straight up, everything y'all just said. To this day, it goes hard. That beat still goes hard. His bars are still hard. Who doesn't love that hook? Like Will Smith or Kool Moe Dee. Who doesn't love that hook? You know what I mean?
Right? It sticks in your head. Man, we're really on the same page today. Well, we got Wild Wild West out of the way. What's your number four, LEJ?
I go to work.
Like a
Yeah, exactly.
doctor?
Like an architect with skyscrapers look like atoms, pawns electrons rolling in patterns. Just the stuff he said on that track, I liked, and I really liked the way it was constructed. I love the horns in it, and it was a different feel, in what was out currently because I remember it like it stood out in terms of the music and how he was emceeing. And I've always been a fan of the intelligence he brought to the rap game.
Right, and what a great concept, a clever type concept to tie in his emceeing ability to certain occupations. Whoa, we're to the top three already. We'll just keep flying through them. And, now we're getting to the ones that were hard to put in order. But I am going back to what I think is my favorite 91's Funky Funky Wisdom. And I'm going with bad, bad, bad. And I almost talked myself into this being number one because he just kills this track lyrically, just kills it. He rides that guitar sample perfectly. You got a hook full of dope scratches, which will always get me. I love the vibe of the beat, almost Run DMC-ish. But it's just a clinic of being an MC. Just, mm, it's an MC's MC song. So bad, bad, bad. I ended up going number three, but it is so damn good. And it's not a well-known one. So if someone's listening, never heard it, it is just straight MC shit. Modi brings you. So that was my number three. What about you, Raven?
So all three of mine, top three, have three scratches beside them. All three of them have been number one at
Of
some point, but number three is bad, bad, bad. And it's
course.
the fucking guitar riffs. It gives a very aggressive feel. You got all that dope scratching in there. It's the just MC wordplay. It's got this grungy biker gang feel for a fucking 80s rap song. It fucking hits.
Oh, on all levels. I'm glad someone else appreciates it because it's not a well-known one. You never hear that one getting brought up. All right, Justice, is your number three bad, bad, bad?
No, my number three is Death Blow because
Oh,
in terms of Let's Go and Death Blow, I just like I said, I was more of a fan of what he was doing against LL, and I liked when he brought out that side of him, like the straight MC side of him, because that's what I was familiar with growing up. That's what I ran around to the parties listening to. So I like that he was able to convey that, like when he put it on wax.
it's almost like we all got together and compared lists because my
Right.
number two is Death Below.
Oh wow.
Exhibit A, that Modi won the battle. This is one of the dopest diss tracks ever, period. I know it made my list when we did top 10 diss tracks. I don't remember where. I'm guessing it might have made top five. To me, it's one of the greatest diss tracks of all time. Again, you got Teddy Riley, but Modi rides this beat like an Olympic surfer, right? And so lyrical, great lines. But then the third verse, when he does all those LLs, and I'll admit, towards the end, he's just saying L words and don't really, they're just L words. I think he started running out of L words. But it's not a diss. It's just he destroyed when he goes through that third verse with all those L's. People were
Yeah,
not doing that. I mean, very few people. It was just
very few
so
people did.
dope. And the video, again, one more video I want to talk about because it starts with LL's mom saying, Todd, I told you not to go messing with Mo D. And they recreate the Mama Said Knock You Out video. He's in the boxing ring with the mic like this. They just clown LL in this video, just clown him, and it works because the song is so great. It's just like a first round knockout. Modi is the winner. No questions about it. Death Blow could have been number one. I love it that much, but it slid to two. Raven, what's your number two?
Yeah, I'm feeling bad that Death Blow was number 8 for me now.
Yeah, you should be.
Um,
You should be, kind of
but
embarrassed.
I went with How You Like Me Now.
Uh,
Because it's just Teddy Riley killed that beat. It's such a dope beat. It's got a dope flow. Even with the stabbing at LL, it's still a dope song. And the video was dope. It's just, yeah, should have been Death Blow, I guess. But How You Like Me Now still it fits.
I had kind of either forgotten or not realized how much producing Teddy Riley did for Mo D. I
Same.
didn't remember that really. You
Yeah,
always connect him with the New Jack Swing artists, which he was a big part of. But I was amazed when I was looking at production how much Teddy Riley did for Kool Moe Dee, and I'd forgotten
definitely.
that or just never knew it. All right, Justice number two.
Number two for me is Knowledge is King, and just some of the things that he did. I mean, there were aspects of such an intelligent rap that had a social feel to it in terms of like the vibes of like just not only MCs but African American males, youngsters, teenagers in terms of growing up in society. And I think a lot of people weren't doing that. They certainly weren't able to go back and forth and have like a diss track and then a culturally respected track and then a story track. So I just am such a fan of him for what he did. I think, as you said many times, he was so ahead of his time.
Absolutely, and versatile, like you said before too. All these different type tracks. All right. We are at number one already. You guys both brought it up, but I was pretty sure this would be number one. Often Knowledge is King. I ain't got the cassette single. I go to work like a doctor. Just the song, the concept, picking an occupation and comparing it to being an MC. This is one of those songs I remember as a kid listening to multiple times and catching new things. And just when it would hit me, the comparison or whatever, I'd be like, oh, that's so, and it was like the song that kept giving back. I probably listened to it 50 times before I got every metaphor and stuff from the renovate and build another one, when he's done with his verse or done with the building like architect. I could go on and on. And you also get some really dope scratching, especially between the second and third verse. The video is like a James Bond theme type video, but the concept is so brilliant, so brilliant. I've always loved I Go to Work, so it ended up having to be my number one. Raven, number one for you.
Man, that's like I said, my top three has shifted so much, but I had to go with Rise and Shine with Tara Thorne and Chuck D because it is fucking hip hop school, and it was arguably the three illest MCs that you could put together on one dope fucking beat together at that time. You got the perfect combination. That song, forever. It's not the first song I'm gonna think of when I think of Kool Moe Dee, but it's always gonna probably be right up there with the best.
Yeah, and you just didn't see that very often back then. All right, I don't know if did you bring up Rise and Shine yet? Justice, is that your number one?
My number one is How You Like Me Now because it really it really the song really touched me because I know where it came from and I know like how it originated that the fact that Kool Moe Dee was so well known lyrically like in Harlem and in different boroughs of New York and then for LL to really start feeling himself and saying how great of a dope rhymer he was and all this. I understand where it originated from. Even in interviews with Kool Moe Dee, how it just started like people were like do you hear what he's saying about himself? And that's kind of where it came from. And I just appreciated like every bit of every lyric of that track. I must have played that track like I don't know 5 times a day just listening to it because that is how you make a diss record. That is how you jump on somebody. I think people really took that as a schematic for making a diss track.
Before I do honorable mentions, I mean, I have to ask, you were following Kool Moe Dee around as a kid back in the 80s. Do you have any good Kool Moe Dee stories?
It was hard to get close to him because like back in those days, like a lot of the parties or a lot of the places where there were MCs, they were like out in parks or like in school gymnasiums. And the thing of it is, like the parties back then, they were like pitch black, except for like the spotlight or like the lights where like the people were MCing. So it was hard to be seen in the crowd, and it was hard to get up to the front of him. I been through a lot of places where fights and stuff broke out. Because sometimes you're people going up to the Bronx, coming from Manhattan and going to Brooklyn to see him. But I was the kid that was usually always up in the front, and then I actually did have a. I did I did have a pair of glasses like his I used to wear to parties. So
Nice.
I'm
That
sure somewhere he remembers the crazy kid that was always standing in front.
and the Star Trek shades.
Yeah,
That beginning of hip hop in the parks and stuff that you got to physically be there and live it, me, I just got to hear about it and see it on, TV or whatever. Just to be able to live it, it had to be amazing because just the birth of it, the growing of it. It's a culture we all
yeah.
love. But Kool Moe Dee honorable mentions. From the first record, Dumb Dick. I think I just liked it as a kid more than anything. And I thought this would make someone's list that almost made mine, and as Do You Know What Time It Is? Just that clicking of the
Oh,
talk. And in the beginning of each verse, he's just rapping over that tick for like 2 bars, and then the beat comes in. That's such a great song. It killed me not to put it on. From
I
How You
changed
Like,
my list.
yeah,
I
changes.
changed my list
Don't you
up
hate.
too.
From How You Like Me Now, Stupid. From Knowledge is King, I'm Blowing Up. And I wanted to pick something off an interlude. I picked Yes, Yes, Y'all, although that's a pretty forgettable album. But I also want to talk about a song that is on the Greatest Hits album only, and it's called Who Got the Flavor. And I only had when I transferred from cassettes to tapes, like the first two records I had, these are my cassettes I had as a kid. But then
Hmm.
Knowledge is King, I had that somewhere too. Anyways, his greatest hits CD on CD had all the songs I wanted for the first two, so I just bought that instead of buying the first two ones on CD. I was trying to save money. But there's a track on there called Who Got the Flavor that's really, really dope. I can't believe it never made an album, but if you look, it's just for that greatest hits album. It's worth checking out. But yeah, are we missing any honorable mentions?
I have an honorable mention. It's not really it was part of a soundtrack, but it was Jingle Jangle for the Poor he did in Beat Street on the soundtrack. I thought it was amazing to see like MCs and so forth like in that movie. I mean because I mean Kool Moe Dee was in it and Dougie Fresh was in it, and that was like really before like they blew up. And it was nice to see, but I always remember that because I was like, yeah, this Moe Dee. That made me want to see the movie more.
I gotta. It's been a while since I saw Beat Street. I rewatched Crush Groove about 6 months ago. But another good thing to bring up that I just caught, on this Go to Work single, the self destruction song. But then they did the Stop the Violence movement, where all the artists would put this on the back of their albums, Stop the Violence. So you'd
Yeah,
see that mark on so many hip hop albums in this era. Mostly East Coast, but I think there's West Coast artists who also maybe had that on. But yeah, I'm glad we finally got Kool Moe Dee. Yeah, he's not a big name that carried on, even like Rakim and Kane, but true hip hop heads realize the skill he had. I just think he was too ahead of his time almost. Maybe
it
some
really.
marketing wasn't right, but
Yeah, because that's the thing. He really should have. been marketed better. I mean, I think he could have just exploded more. But but it's also because he was really known as like a neighborhood underground street rapper, you know. So it was. I think that's kind of how they failed in terms of marketing him, because I don't think they saw the vision of how far he could have gone and how far his music could have expanded, as opposed to someone like LL who kind of just came on the scene and they pushed him. You know what I mean?
Kool Moe Dee's in the books. So, all right, y'all. Have a good night. Take it easy.
Still a B-boy, from the old to the new, still a B-boy. Too bold for the school, still a B-boy. East coast to the west, B-boys worldwide, we supposed to be blessed. Still a B-boy, from the old to the new, still a B-boy. Too bold for the school, still a B-boy. East coast to the west, B-boys worldwide, we supposed to be blessed.